After several classes, we have completed the history and the generations of computers. And with today's class, we are completing the first unit, the introduction to computers. So our today's session will be focusing on different classification of computers and different applications and some of the characteristics. I'm not going through all of those. Some of them are given you as assignments, reading assignments and writing assignments. So because those things will be already you have come across within your some of the lifetime. So this will be good if I give some reading and writing assignments based on these characteristics of computers, because these are all you are all familiar students, BCS students. So definitely this will be not a new thing to you. So I will firstly go into different type of computers. Okay, just a minute. Okay. So basically we will already cover the definitions and different part of different aspects of computing already. So quickly we are going through the definition one more time. What is a computer? It's a device that accepts input, processes data or stores data and produces output, useful output for the users. And all these things are performed by the computer with the instruction given by the user. That's the main thing a computer is. And a computer consists of hardware, softwares, etc. We already know. And there are some peripheral devices associated with it. It is used to expand the computer's input, output, storage, and capabilities. So various peripheral devices are used for, these are all hardware units of a computer. We can use these devices to give input, take output from the device, etc. Or you can also use some hard disk like storage devices to store information on those things. And basically talked about computers, the very important term is what a network. So basically the network is a group of computers that will be connected together for communication purpose and other human communication purpose, and day-to-day life we are using all aspects with the help of internet and all. So internet is nothing, the all interconnection, global worldwide interconnection of all the networks available in the world. So with the evolution of that in 1970s onwards, we are improving the capabilities of our hardware device and computer devices to make it as a full package. Okay, computer can be used for communication, social networking, then it will be used in any aspect of the world. A real life application, every day we are using computers in our day-to-day life. Any information with the rise of smartphones and portable document systems, we are having the information in our fingertips. So now a lot of research are going on into the artificial intelligence. Okay. So with that, we already have some classification we discussed in based on the generations of computers. The computers are classified into 5 categories. Like that, there are several categories based on different purposes. So we will be just, I am going through what are the classification. I am just listed out 5 classification other than the generations. Okay, so some of you are heard about these terms. Hope you can see that presentation. Is that okay? Or I want to increase the font? Is it visible to you? The presentation is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, readable, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So computer can be again classified based on different, okay, different characteristics, different functionalities, etc. So different properties computers are classified, and one of the category is based on the size and the processing speed of that computers. And you are definitely come across this in your day-to-day, in your studies. So that category follows 4 subdivisions. The first one is microcomputers. Then it will be mini computers, mainframe computers, and supercomputers. So by looking into these terms itself, micro, mini, mainframe, supercomputer, starting from the small type of computers that are available nowadays, the handheld computing device or PDEs, microcomputers. We are all familiar with that. And these are dedicated to a single person for doing his day-to-day life activities, like looking into Facebook, looking into social networking sites, transactions, e-governance, electronic banking, etc. So these are used for searching into internet or web, etc. The microcomputer, these are very small in size, and the processing speed is not that much. Okay, we are moving into small processing speed to large processing speed. Okay, in that hierarchy, the microcomputers will be having smaller processing speed. In the initial days, it will be like microcomputer will be a small computer with very small capabilities. And next comes the mini computers. And mini computers are much more bigger in size, and these are used in some institutions to connect people and to perform some industrial tasks like small machines, operated computers. Okay, these are the mini computers, and it is specifically for a small institution or mainly for a small industry where they need to automate their task, like building task or something related to that. In our shopping complexes or shopping malls and all, there were computers for building purposes. This can be considered as a mini computer. It is not for personalized purpose. That's why it is called as mini computers. Then again comes the important computers. They are mainframe computers, or these are mainly used in server rooms and all. These mainframe computers are also called as the backend computers or server computers, in which all different high level capabilities will be there for that computer. The storage space is more, RAM and speed, all things will be more, because these are the computers called server computers. Can be a web server, it can be a file transfer server, or any different type of server can be available. So these are all mainframe server in order to serve tens of people or lakhs of people. These are the back end of all Google or Facebook or all other web servers and all. So there will be a large computer capable of handling millions of requests per user. And that's why the size of the device is larger. It will be allocated in a large server room. It will be having a physical security, no other person. This is managed by different expert people like network engineer, system administrator, security experts, etc. This is not dedicated to a personal purpose. This is dedicated to server machines. That is a special type of handling. The database handling can be handled. So specialized people will be only have the access to these kind of devices. And the processing speed will be that much higher, because in order to serve 1,000 requests per second, okay, for example, the Google server room will be having access a small amount of time. There are a lot of requests are coming into Google server. So in order to serve millions of requests per second, that much processing speed will. That why it is much more heavily available. The processing speed is comparatively heavier than the microcomputers and mini computers, even though mini computers are used in industry, but they are used in smaller industry cases. Okay, used to handle some special devices. Okay, special purpose device in hospital and all. We are using some computers to monitor the in ICUs and all. We are using computers to monitor the health result of a patient. The digital computers can be used in that case also. But mainframe computers are the server computer. That's why we are all now familiar with different servers. So millions of requests are coming per second or a unit time. So in order to handle that kind of number of requests from a client, we need to have that much capability in that computer. So there will be a secure room. So information is stored in a database server, a web server will be very much important because of it will be from different part of the world, different people data is a very important asset nowadays. So nowadays the era is kind of big data. So the security of that data is very much important. The physical security and lot of firewalls or those software security measures are applied in mainframe computing infrastructures. So in the last and least, the supercomputers based on the speed, it will be tremendously used in lot of research and scientific aspect. The NASA and a lot of research organizations are using supercomputers, and these are using parallel processing. So we can handle multiple number of requests in a or multiple process can be operated in a particular single time. So there are mainly there are several number of processors that parallelly works and gives the input in a faster manner. The unit of time that there are some operations called flops. The unit of measurement of speed of a supercomputer is measured in flops, floating point operations per second. And this is an average of all those CPUs. It can be, we can say it as a simple CPU, but the CPU itself consists of many processing units. These are all threads. Okay, thread processors or processing units are mainly there are several numbers. So it is also heavier in size because in order to accommodate and process the large mathematical operations, calculations, we need high-end capabilities similar to mainframe, but is more complex calculation is required in that case. More complex calculations is required to perform. That's why we are using supercomputers, and you know the name Samuel Cray, Cyber Cray, not Cyber Cray. The Cray computers are very much created towards the supercomputers, and in India there are some series of computers called Param computers and Jaguar computers dedicated for and serve supercomputers. And in worldwide case, US, Japan, and Taiwan, like countries are creating their own so high-speed supercomputers. So basically, these are the classification based on size and speed. I am not going into deep. Okay, you can find out it in computer resources. You will be having enough resources available. So for the assignment part, you can have a detailed write-up about all those the classification. These 5 things for classification of computers based on these factors can be considered as a huge impact. You can understood it clearly by looking into different resources. So I can provide these names and some explanation, but you can also go and look into some resources and find out more useful materials. And based on the size and speed, these are the computers classification: microcomputer, mini computer, and mainframe and supercomputer. From moving from the smaller processing speed to higher processing speed, or moving to the smaller size to larger size. Okay, so microcomputer will be having small size and small processing speed in order to serve a small single person. That's why it is having lower processing speed. Then mini computers is dedicated to a small industry like hospitals and in ICUs or some other industries for some special purpose. They use that computers. So that way they are having that in order to accommodate. Okay, there will be user interface for handling getting the result from to the doctors. They are evaluating or monitoring the patient. Like that, there are several classifications. There are different examples for computers. In that case, ICU in ECGs and several computers will be there. Then mainframes are nothing but the server computers. This will be in a large size, not the surveillance of requests from client or computers. And the last one is the supercomputers is a special purpose and target to a complex required the complex calculations and synthesis of processing. So that's why supercomputers will require high-end capabilities with a parallel processing. And the second classification is based on the functionality of a computer. Again, based on the functionality, the mainframe computers itself called as servers, but there are some other mainframe computers that are not servers. So when though based on the functionality, we can again classify. The classifications are done by different people based on different factors. So one factor is based on the functionality, what type of function it is intended to perform. So that's why it is classified into servers, workstations, information appliances, and embedded computers. So basically, we have already talked about servers and its capabilities. So I'm not going into that depth. So next one is workstations. So basically, workstations are we already used in our college. Workstations are nothing. These are devices used in the industry to serve different number of people. Okay, we can operate that computer. Workstation can be operated by a single person, but every time a single person is operating that computer, but different time different person can access multitasking or multi-processing, or not multi-processing, it is multi-programming computers. At a time, we can operated by a single person. Okay, so in our lab and all, we are using workstation computers. It is shared computers or not portable. It can be portable, or we can move into that later. So workstations are used in institutions where we can share that resources. Okay, in our college itself, we will be having computer lab with different number of computers, and in your lab, different labs will be there for you. So you can go and sit in any computer and log in using your credentials. That's why it is called as shared computers or public computers. We can say like that. So publicly, you can use any computer with. The main thing is you have a network. You have to log into that network. Then only you can access the materials. Then the workstations are connected to server rooms. In that server rooms, the servers will be configured as your information repositories. That's why you can't access in a computer. Your credentials will be stored in a server machine. That's why some of the time you forget your password and come into the lab, you will not access the materials. So workstations are number of computers put together in a group room with interconnected. This is a network of computer. These all networks or computers are interconnected to form a workstation, and basically all information, the workstations are considered as clients. The information will be stored in server machines. In order to access the or communicate, you need to access the server. This entire information will be stored in the most of the information. You can only have limited resources available in your workstation computer, client computer. In order to have more capability, you have to reach servers. So that's why workstations are there. And information appliances, we are day-to-day life, we are using different information appliances. Most of the time, different PDFs are used in. Okay, nowadays the major information appliance. In the earlier days, one of the information appliance we use these small iPods are used. Then we use several small mobile phone. Okay, in order to communicate call and text message, we use information appliances. Then we use some other information appliances for accessing internet. And after several times, we all put together it in a particular type of computing device or port portable document assistant is called a smartphone. After the evolution of smartphone, all those different things are put together into a single piece of thing. Okay, and you can easily access with the well support of GUI and touchscreen. We can easily perform all these separate tasks done by iPod and internet connection devices and the mobile phones together within a small handheld device or a smartphone. Okay, so these are all information appliances. Other than that, we have embedded computers. Nowadays, we are using a lot of IoT devices. Okay, smart watches, smart phones. Other than smartphones, smart watches. Other embedded computers will be intelligent of devices like we can operate. Okay, any device can be configured as a IoT device or an embedded computer. We can monitor it from other part of the world. It is connected to internet and it is having a chip inside. We can monitor. You can adjust the cooling effect of your refrigerator. You can turn off your washing machine. You can turn off your fans, lights, etc. If you are having a chip inside that. So earlierly there are computers with chips, but it cannot be operated by a remote person. It can be only operated by direct communication or by small distance communication. But now with the evolution of IoT, Internet of Things, this can be possible. The monitoring or things can be processed easily. Very small devices can be there. A small device to any large device can be operated with the interconnection, remote access. Okay, that operation of automatic flights can be possible from that large size of device if that device is having a microprocessor installed in it and we can operate with the internet connection. Some people can monitor the travel journey of that device or the plane or that vehicle can be from any size. That any size is not a matter in that time. From small size or minute size to a large size can be operated from a distance place. That is IoT, Internet of Things. And there are a lot of research is going on to improve the capabilities, the security problems. There are a lot of power problems. In order to operate that IoT device, we need power. So when you are talking about a small wrist watch, this is operated using battery. Okay, the battery efficiency in terms of how much time it will work without draining the battery is very much important. Sometimes it will, when you are doing something else, the battery went down and it will not operate. So the duration, lifetime of the battery is very much important in coming embedded systems, embedded computers or IoT computers. So based on the functionalities, we can divide it into again 4 categories. Server computers, workstations are a group of computers used in an institution or organizations. Then information appliances can be any type of information for using in a particular sort of application. We can have different information appliances. It will be having a computer sort of application. Then in the embedded computers or IoT devices will be there based on the functionality. And based on the data handling, this is very fundamental classification based on the data handling, which type of data the computer handles. So a computing device or any sort of device can be handling. Mainly, we are focusing our institution laptops and mobile phone all access data in digital form only. But there are computers that takes input in the form of analog signals, analog waves, or numerical values, etc. And these are used in another areas. For example, one example of analog computer in which data is taken as input as in the form of analog signals or numerical signals or wave format. One example is when you are +2 and all, if you are a not a computer science student, if you are a science student, physics or physics lab will be there. And in order to read, there are different machines, different small devices like thermometer, barometer. These are there. So in order to measure the physical quantities, so these physical quantities are nothing but these are all the electromagnetic waves. These are in form of analog signals, wave signals or sine wave signals. So these are not represented in binary. These are actually, we can convert into that if you are using digital computer. But if you can directly take that measurements from the surroundings, okay, and put it into a device and get output. If that type of computers are called analog signal, lot of examples are there, thermometer, barometer, etc. So that directly take input from the surround. Temperature machines will be there. Nowadays, for all those things, digital versions are available, but most of the time for experimental purpose and all, the physical scientists are using these kind of small devices for taking a for a small purpose. They are using these kind of devices. So most of the analog signals, you can go to find the various other type of devices. Earlier, it was not available with lot of digital devices, so they used this kind of analog signals to capture. But the problem with analog is that will not provide very accurate result. It will be having some errors, biases in that case. But if you are coming into digital, it will be having accurate result. The device will give you exact result. But the thing is, the digital device will be having a small lag. Okay, that not that much faster as analog signal, because that need to be converted. The analog signal, the input need to be converted into binaries before put into as a digital computer. So based on that, the data, what type of data it is, is it a analog data or a digital data it is handling? Okay, the computer is classified into 3 categories. First one is analog. The physical quantities are taken as in the analog waves or sine waves, and it will be processing it and give the output. Again in the form of binary, not binary, numerical or analog waves. The output also will be that case. So another example is weighting machines. Old weighting machines will be having that kind of thing. So nowadays we will be having digital machines with accurate value. It will be a digit representation will be there, and other devices are like a clock can be the dial clocks will be example of analog computers. And nowadays we are all digitalizing all those things. We are automating all those things. We will be having accurate values. We need accuracy as very much important in computing. That's why we are moving into computers. One of the important aspects is accurate result, and it will operate without any deviation from the result. That way it is called digital computer. And some other application areas we are using hybrid computers, in which the hybrid is also called, in all areas will be having hybrid versions. Okay, we are taking the advantage from both analog and digital. The main advantage of analog is it is faster. So we are taking that advantage, faster computing from analog signal, and the other advantage from digital computer is it will provide accuracy. So faster and accurate computing is possible with the hybrid version, the mix of analog and digital computers. So the hybrid version can also take input as directly, and input can be taken in an analog phase, and the output can be any type based on, it can be a digital output or it can be a analog output, it can be plotting or anything, visualization, anything can be possible. So hybrid computers are used in some other areas. Okay, and the next classification is based on the purpose of use. Again, you will be heard these terms, but so based on general purpose, we are using general purpose computers, laptop, etc. We are using personal computer, desktop computers, all used for a personal purpose or a dedicated computing purpose. Okay, so there are input devices, output devices, processors, RAM, storage devices, etc. will be there in a general purpose devices. It is for a general purpose. What is the main purpose of computer? To take input, process it, output, and given it as the output to the user, or it will be stored in a hardware device for further use. Some more their time we can use it. That for that type of working uses purposes, we can use general purpose computer. Examples are all these laptops, desktop, etc. And there are some special purpose computers. We can categorize it into different area subdivisions, but I am not going into that. So special for one example is a display computer in which only the information will be displayed. For example, we can see this in the digital boards will be there. The information or available stocks in a market or a shop will be displayed. The name of the shop with the available stock details will be displayed. The remaining number of count of numbers, and in our railway stations, the timing of the trains and the journey timing, travel time will be displayed. These kind of airports and all, we are using display computers, and this is for a particular purpose. That's why these are categorized as special purpose computers. These are not dedicated to these are dedicated to a particular task, very prior task, very particular task, and it will not have that much processing speed. It only require a small chip inside that. We don't need a complete computer, very small computer with very small device with a larger display. That is the only need. And based on that, there are other classification also. You can look into that, and this is an assignment. You can go through that. And again, based on the usage, okay, based on the type, how the people using that computer. Based on that, again, we are using another classification. Again, it is based on public computers. There are personal computer, there are shared computers, and display computer. Again, it is coming display computers. Okay. So what is the difference between a public computer and a personal computer? It's based on the use. A person only can use a personal computer. For example, in my laptop, I'm only giving access to myself. I'm using a login name and password with nobody else knows. I can log into that computer. No one else will access my computer with other authentication. Okay, authorization will be provided as myself. Okay, it can be any type of authorization, login, username, password, or biometric logs will be provided. Fingerprint scanner will be available in laptop and mobile phone. So that type of computers, only a single person access can be restricted, only provided with restrictions with login and passwords or other biometric natures. And there are public computers. The examples are when one example is the kiosk available in shopping malls and all. If any public person can access it without a login, where there is no authentication. Okay, there is no login credential is required. Just access the computer. Or other example is your cafes, internet cafes. Everyone can access. Come, just open any browser, surf it. Okay, public computers are without any login credentials. You can operate it. Okay, for a special purpose. You're not for secure purposes, just for accessing web or internet communication. You can use public computers. So personal computer, we can all personalized games. We can it's having a little importance to security also. You can provide banking. You can conduct e-banking. Okay, some important social networking sites. Secret data can be passed using personal computer. But and again, the public computer, personal computer. Then another thing is shared computing. This thing I already mentioned, talking about the workstations. So our college Amrutapuri campus itself, we can say you can have a clear idea. Our lab computing, okay, lab infrastructure, all things are shared. Okay, you will be having a shared space in the server, file server. Your informations are stored in file server or cloud. Okay, those type of computer, it will not have any high-end storage in that particular machine. Okay, every computer will be having a small little storage space, little RAM, but the main thing is the all information processing or storage is happening in cloud or servers. So we don't need a full-fledged machine there. We only need a input device, output device, and a small cabinet with CPU and some other things, and a full-fledged monitor output. That much is required. The backend is okay, communications and all those things for processing and complex processing are all performed, and storage is there in server machines or cloud machines, and that's why any person can access from that computer, communicate, and shared space will be there in the cloud or the server. That is another category based on the usage. And again, this is display computer mainly. Okay, so display computer cannot be considered as a usage. It can be anything, right? We already explained in this case of special purpose, which is just a special purpose computer. Mistakenly, I put it here. Okay, we can remove it from here. Okay, so with that, you got some idea about different classification. There are many classifications. I took some of the major classification based on different factors. One of the based on the size and speed, based on functionality, based on the data it handles, what is the purpose of that, how it is used. Because based on that, we can classify it into FI category here. And for you, I am giving the second assignment. You have to explore it much more, and it will be a much bigger assignment for you. Be lot of information you have to find out from resources. Okay, the first assignment was little smaller, so this will be much more interesting for you to find out different type of computer, examples of computers in each category, though there will be some interconnection between different other classification, though computers devices will be falling into init categories, but based on the size and speed, what are the classification you looking to find out that type of configuration. So briefly explain about different classification of computers and the examples in each classification with some write-up. That will be your second assignment, and it will be submitted in the next Tuesday. And the next part is I just mentioned some of the computers. These are I already explained. I think you already know some of them. Most of them you have the clear idea. I'm not going into deep. Just personal computers are used in home and education institution. I'm not going into this. You read it down, and next after finishing this unit, we will be conducting the exam. Actually, I was said to have a class test today. I don't ask you anything related to that because I planned it to be conducted in the next class. Okay, so I don't forget at it. I just not asking you to put in this time only. Okay, then there are classifications of laptop. There are type of computer, personal computers, laptop. Even though the personal computer itself have laptops and like other computers. So there are network computers. We already know these are computers connected in a network. It can't be called as this kind of computers. It will be workstations, or there are some other type of computer. So with this figure, you can have a clear idea about network computers or workstations. Okay, what is the difference between a network computer and a workstation? You can say by looking into this image. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing this image? Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You're following, right? Okay. So with this figure, what are your conclusion? What is happening here? How it is related to a network computer? We will be having modems, hubs, a server, then an internet. We can relate it into our Amruthaveri campus. There are a lab. For example, here, the workstation, there are 3 workstations I shown here, and each of them are connected to a hub. or a switch, and but by this we can conclude that this will be a single network. Workstations are all connected to a single network. For example, we can say it as our lab network, lab 1. Okay, these workstations are connected together in a single network, or it can be first floor lab. We can say that first floor lab will be having 200 number of PCs. These are all workstations. Okay, these are all kinds. You need to be access to servers. Okay, in order to store information, in order to process information. That why the dedicated communication is there to servers. And again, you will be having provisions to access using your mobile phone with Wi-Fi. So there are Wi-Fi modems connected to laptop, and the access, the internet access is provided only when you connected to and authenticate in the server. If you are authorized person, if your proxy is authorized, you can communicate with internet. And some type of connection, what type of communication is coming from your laptop? If you are a student and you will be having a lot of restrictions to access resources from internet in our campus, you cannot access Facebook or YouTube at classing hours. After classing hours, sometimes they will provide the access with some softwares or hardware tools like firewalls and IDS, intrusion detection systems. You will be monitored and configured with security. So you will be having a password to connect to modem, Wi-Fi modem. Okay, SSIDs will be there. You can access. So this is the structure of a network computer. In a network, what are the type of computers required? How the wireless communication, how it is possible? Wired communication, how it is possible? All PCs in lab or workstations are connected in wired manner to a hub or a switch. You are all clear about the hub, right? What is hub? You all just for connecting different computers together, you require a switch or a hub. And modems are intended for providing internet connectivity. Modem, wireless modems or wired modems will be there. In home will be having broadband connections, and there will be a modem that will, okay, you have the clear idea about that. So a network computer will be having different collection of computers. It can be a workstation computer, or it can be a personal computer like a mobile phone with Wi-Fi access. We need to register to the authority. The network is monitored by some people. In our case, it will be ICTS people. In ICTS, will be having a server room. Or RAS servers are available in our server room. Physical servers will be there. There is a server room with security, and all login credentials for DNS, DHCP, all those servers will be stored. Web server, Amrita.ed server, all stored in that server room computers. Okay, so in a network computer will be having a personal computers or a workstation computer or other computers to configure hubs and modems. Okay, and there are some security measures, and in order to access from our network to internet, there is also something called gateway service, gateway connections. So routers will be required. In order to connect to different networks, we will be need a routing options. For that, we are using networking components, networking tools like modems. Other than that, we'll be having a layer 3 device called router. You already covered it in your networking courses, I think. Okay, then there are mini computers, microcomputers. We already know that the microcomputers are personal computers, and the mini computers are used in small institutions or industries for a specialized task. So very important thing is a mini computer can be a hospital case. We'll be having a lot of computers to monitor the health of a patient. It can be a digital computer or an analog computer. So that can be easily in ICUs and all. We'll be using mini computers. Okay, then PDAs. Nowadays we are already using lot of PDAs or portable devices. Okay, so with starting from mobile smartphones to all other type of applications, we are using various number of PDAs. We already know that. Then okay, workstation we already covered. It will be used in a network of computers. Then servers also. This is important in case of networks and internet. All information services are provided by server machine. It will be a mainframe computer with high-end capabilities. You already know. Okay. So mainframe computers and servers can be together. We can assume like both are the same. Server rooms. So supercomputers, the high-end speed processing capabilities. So there are some application areas, electronic design, military application, weather forecasting involves really complex application, robotic design, and future forecasting. Not like that. There are NASA and other companies are using this for their time. They have to visualize their images took from satellite pictures. Satellite picture will be having a larger size instead of a small, to capture a black hole from there. It will take lot of trillions of storage space it will require, and to process and find out something from that image. If that any presence of some type of component is there, so water presence is there in the space or Mars, we need to apply some image processing algorithm on a high stored image. Okay, 1 trillion combination of GB of storage is required to store that images, and in order to process that, we need to have a parallel process capability. For that, we are using supercomputers. So a lot of computers are having that capability nowadays. NASA's are using that. Okay, this is an image of a NASA server room with a lot of supercomputers and server computers. Store information, we use supercomputer, server computer, and in order to process that, you use supercomputers like these. So you can look into these accuracy measures. You can look into this. Okay, speed, accuracy, reliability, and storage capacity and diligence. These are the important characteristics of any computer. So speed, you already know how much instructions are processed per unit second. Then accuracy, all computers will provide accurate result. The reliability, no need of human intervention, and it is reliable. It will be performing reliable task to us. It will be more, it will damage is considerably low comparing to unlocked devices and all. And storage capacity tremendous. Nowadays we'll be having lots of storage capabilities. Okay, picobytes of storage will be available. 10 raised to 12 GB or gigabyte and picobyte. So storage is not a matter nowadays, and the main advantage of computer is diligence, which will, without any, okay, human being will be tired after some time working something, but computer will not have any tiredness. That is called diligence. Every time it will provide the same result. Okay, when I ask you a question today based on these topics we have covered, you will somewhat clearly you give the answer. After several days, you forget some of the important facts and you don't recall, you are not able to recall all those things. But this is not the case of computer. Computer can have the memory. All times it will be giving the accurate result. All accuracy will be there, same result is there. It will work for a long time without any tiredness. These are the very main categories of computers. You go deeply and study more about these things. And there are some disadvantages. We already have the idea. It cannot think itself. It cannot feel. It cannot feel. But there are research in robotics and AI to make it as a real human being type of computer. It can learn from its mistakes, or there are some tremendous deep learning and reinforcement learning type of things are there. Will learn, the computer or robot can learn from the mistake it performs, or it can feel like same like a computer, no human being. A computer can act like a human being similarly. So research can going, we can expect a human based human. Actually, there are human type of computer, all are capabilities like a computer human being, and more than that, the computer advantages will be added into a robot. Okay, diligence is very important. So looking into these characteristic, you will be have the capability to think yourself and find out what are the techniques we can improve the capability of computers. How can we make a computer effectively with the disadvantages recovered? And various applications, you can go through this also. At home itself, we nowadays we are using computing device in home for surveillance and home application turn off, turn okay, operation of these kind of devices from a remote place. You already know IoT devices and camera health devices. So home gaming, your laptop or smartphone, using that you can attend live classes nowadays. You can have all in internet connections, internet capabilities, internet services can be accessed, mailing, social networking, all those things can be possible with this. In home, anything you can use with sitting in home, and you can have the provision to have entire task. Okay, you don't need to move from one place to another. You just sit in your home and perform all things with one few 5 or 10 years. You can easily have the capabilities like a tour, virtual play options available. Like that, there are virtual stations available, virtual play stations available. Within looking into your room itself, you get a feel like you are traveling in the Himalayas. Okay, that type of gaming is already available, but we will be making it more attractive, okay, user friendly. The research is going on in that area, multimedia and animations, okay, industries. So by just staying in a home, and all application will be possible. And there are some other application, but the education sector will be using that, a lot of internet things, computer things, aiding students and teachers to perform their teaching capabilities, research search, and all. We already know that. I'm not going into depth. You can go and find out these more. In scientific aspects, we'll be using a lot of supercomputers to perform and find out the space and match those kind of universal facts, the missing facts, or you have to discover it, the presence of something in Mars, Jupiter, etc. can be possible with supercomputers and all. A lot of scientific calculations or scientific research problems are solved using supercomputers, using image processing and all, taking pictures from really human cannot reach there, but using that robots and all, we can reach there and take snaps from there and process it and find out some useful insight. Conclude as a useful insight. Can be understood as a presence of water, or can be the presence of some oxygen level that is suitable to live by a human being, can be possible using that type of image processing and data processing. And industry, after the industrial revolution, we already talked about this in our history of computers class. So after the industrial revolution, a lot of computing devices or industrial machines are evolved, and most of them now is automating their tasks. All industries and all government organizations are automating their file systems. All files are converted into manual, not automated processes. You can using DTP and data entry are becoming a lot of things. That lot of data are put together in a computer, and banking sector, networking sector, business sector, all, and the data communication. There are something called blockchain concept. All assets are transferred with security. So there are industry and supply chain market is converted to or security in blockchain. Safety and of resources is possible with blockchain. You can explore that also. There are a lot of research going on in blockchain. There are a lot of research areas in computers. You can go and explore that. Then the important thing, by staying in a home nowadays in lockdown period, we will not feel that much stuck in home because of these vast resources, vast entertainment opportunities available in this internet and computer with the evolution of computers. Okay, there are music, There are games, online streaming games, there are movies. You can reach into that. There are a lot of resources available like this. Cartoons, affairs, you can spend time by learning new hobbies. You can create your own interest in that. Okay, you have enough time to that. You can have a lot of opportunities to spend time for entertainment also. So nowadays, to promote some productions will be, some video productions or audio productions can be possible. So vast area of applications, all scientific, all fields are coming as a application or performing as an application of computer. Without that a computer, you can't imagine any part of the world can survive. Okay, so other than that, okay, business sector, we already have the clear-cut idea. We already know there are some, go through this and go through and find out useful insight from these. So government also using this to for identification of user, and unique identification will be having a Aadhaar UID will be there. Aadhaar, the biometric details like all our fingerprint, biometric, eye retina scanning, all these are done for taking a Aadhaar card. Like that, therefore identity government is using this, and for military applications or the weather forecasting and all, to give some precautions or need of identification of these flood or something priorly. Government is using the help of a lot of internet related aspects. And e-governance, you cannot go to a office and apply for that will be a difficult in this time, entirely reaching into office and applying for a document. Okay, that is difficult. So you can have e-governance sites, apply through that, and you can using some Akshaya centers or directly from home. We have a internet connection, you can directly apply that. Okay, then the tax payment and insurance payment is all virtualized, or nowadays it is possible using online. Some messages virtually. Okay, you can have many number of usages in every areas, every application area. Okay, you can use in any application area. Okay, this just skip or just go through this. Input is given by a computer, and CPU will take the input and process it and given it as an output, or it will store in a secondary storage device for further uses. So that is a computer, and this is a separate parts are designed marked here. You can go through that. Okay, there will be a output device, input unit, keyboards, printers, scanners, so all present here. With this, we can wind up our today's session. And so the assignment part, today's things are all considered as an assignment. Okay, I just talked about some facts. You can explore it, and the assignment, you can come up with this thing. Second slide, okay, as the third slide, brief explanation of these concepts. Okay, classification of computers based on different factors mentioned here. So one factor is based on the size and speed. You explain more about microcomputers to supercomputers, then you explore more about basis of the classification based on functionality, then based on data handling, based on purpose, then based on usage. You can explain more about these things. Okay, so this is your second assignment. Okay, please submit this on time. This will be having a large impact in your assay continuous evaluation mark. So take it as serious. Okay. Okay. Any doubt?
Date
ഒരാഴ്ച നമ്മുടെ സാധാരണ എല്ലാവരും തരുന്ന ഡേറ്റ് തന്നെയാണ്. നമ്മുടെ പറഞ്ഞേക്കുന്ന ഡേറ്റ് ഇത് തന്നെയാണ്. അസൈൻമെന്റ് സബ്മിഷനുള്ള ഡേറ്റ് വെനസ്ഡേ ആക്കാം. വെനസ്ഡേ. ഓക്കെ, അടുത്ത വെനസ്ഡേ. ഓപ്പൺ നമ്മുടെ ടൈം ടേബിൾ തന്നേക്കുന്ന ഡേറ്റ് ആണ്. ഈ ഡേറ്റ് മാറ്റി കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. അസൈൻമെന്റ് സബ്മിഷൻ്റെ ഡേറ്റ് അടുത്ത വീക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ്സിന് തൊട്ട് മുമ്പുള്ള 2 ദിവസം മുമ്പ് ആയിരിക്കണം എന്നാണ്. അത് മാറ്റി കൊടുക്കുക. അന്ന് ഞാനത് അതേ ഡേറ്റ് ആണ് തന്നത്. വെനസ്ഡേ തന്നെ ആയിക്കോട്ടെ. ഓക്കെ. അത് അധികം സമയം വേണ്ട, ഒരു ദിവസത്തെ കാര്യമേ ഉള്ളൂ. ഒരു ദിവസം ഇന്ന് തന്നെ ഇരുന്ന് ചെയ്യാവുന്നേ ഉള്ളൂ. ബാക്കിയുള്ള ദിവസങ്ങളിൽ അത് ബാക്കിയുള്ള സബ്ജക്റ്റിനെ ചെയ്താൽ മതി. ഒരു ദിവസം ഇരുന്ന് കഴിഞ്ഞ് സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുക. ഓക്കെ. എല്ലാവർക്കും എല്ലാ സബ്ജക്റ്റിനും അസൈൻമെൻറ്റ് അതൊക്കെ അറിയാം. പക്ഷേ ഒരാഴ്ച ഇങ്ങനെ എല്ലാവരും തരുന്നത്, അതുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് നീട്ടി തരാനുള്ള നിവൃത്തിയില്ല. അടുത്ത വീക്കിൽ നമുക്ക് അടുത്ത ടോപ്പിക്ക് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യണം. അടുത്ത യൂണിറ്റ് തുടങ്ങണം, ഇൻപുട്ട് ഡിവൈസ് തുടങ്ങണം. അതുകൊണ്ട് അതിന് മുമ്പ് ഇതെല്ലാം തീർത്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്കും അത് റിഫ്രഷ് ആവാം. അങ്ങനെ പോവാം, അതായിരിക്കും നല്ലത്. ഓക്കെ. സോ അസൈൻമെൻറ്റ്, ഓക്കെ, അസൈൻമെൻറ്റ് ടൈറ്റിൽ മറക്കണ്ട, ക്ലാസിഫിക്കേഷൻ ഓഫ് കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ ദാറ്റ്. ആ പി പി ടിയുടെ 3ാമത്തെ പേജ് നോക്കിയാൽ മതി, അതിനെക്കുറിച്ചെല്ലാം വിശദീകരിക്കണം. 5 കാറ്റഗറീസ് വേണം, ഓരോ കാറ്റഗറിയിലും ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ടൈപ്സ് വരും. ഓക്കെ, ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ദിസ് ഇസ് വെരി മച്ച് യൂസ്ഫുൾ. മോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ദി സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് ആർ നോട്ട് അവെയർ ഓഫ് ദീസ് മെനി wide categorization. Okay, if you are going through this in a curious manner, you will find out which is important. Okay, after your studies now will be having that much. Good. Okay, so unit 1 is completed from, so that's why, so next class onward I will upload, before this section, okay, I will upload some more PPTs. Okay, before coming into our class, you just go through that and come. You will have a refresh and commit. Just go one time, go through that PPT. I will upload 1 or 2 days earlier. I will upload on Tuesday or something, sometime. Tomorrow I will upload one material. You can go through that and find out get some insight about that. Okay, and after coming into, you will be having we can have a flipped classroom like session. You can ask some doubt regarding our previous material. I put some materials or video or PowerPoint presentation will be, you can go through that or read through that and come to me and ask any doubt, or I can have a concluding type of, okay, thing will be converted. Okay, you can put your assignments in